Good morning, seculars, or afternoon or evening, whenever you're listening. I'm your host, Sunny Secular, and this is my co host, Fee. Oh, point the wrong
Hey,
direction.
hello. I'm over here.
And welcome to Secular Minority Podcast. On this podcast, we give a non religious humanist perspective on life and the world around us. We encourage friendly conversations. We share our deconversion stories and testimonies. And we explore topics trending on social media. I'll get it right, y'all. This is a safe place for all people, your ethnicity, gender, orientation, pronouns. None of that is a problem here. We don't shun, and we welcome your questions in the comment section down below. Today we have a different twist on the podcast, but before we get to it, I want to talk to you about something. Have you ever thought about having your own podcast with your own subjects? Well, let me tell you, I use Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout has been good to me, and I think it will be good for you too. They've helped over 100,000 people start their podcasts. They have videos, tutorials, all kinds of things that have step by step of how you can get started. They even help you get on major platforms such as Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and so many more. I have a link on my website, secularminority.com, and it says start your own podcast. When you press that link, you will get a $20 Amazon gift card for signing up with Buzzsprout. Okay, now let's get to today's subject. The title today is How Would You Answer? And
Ooh,
what we're going to do
exciting.
is do a little Q&A, a little Q&A. I'm going to throw out some questions here for Fee, and Fee's going to answer them. This is from a atheist point of view. And just a little disclaimer, this show is not for children, not today. So just to let you know, if you have little kitties around, you can remove them because there's no telling what's going to come out of my mouth. I'm
Oh
just
my.
telling you that right now.
Oh my.
Fee's telling you too. So,
Yeah,
this disclaimer: parental guidance is suggested.
let's not traumatize the kids.
No, we have adult themes here, and let's get to it. Okay, so like I said, it's gonna be how would you answer? And one of the first questions, I do have a couple here. One of the first questions I'm gonna throw out there is, oh, and one more thing too before we get started. One more thing. This is the way an atheist may or may not answer. All atheists are not the same. Every atheist believes something different. There are different categories of atheism. So don't just go by, oh, well, she said atheists think like this. No, this is our point of view.
Right.
Our point of view. Our.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Now that that's out of the way.
I know. First question. First question.
Mm,
Here we go.
mm.
When someone says, I know it's a God in my life because I used to be on crack, I was homeless, or I was
Right.
abused. I was trying to think of the word. I was abused. So I know he's in my life because without him, I wouldn't have survived.
Good.
How would you answer?
How do you know you would not have survived? How do you know? How do you know that during the passage of time, things would not have happened just as they happened? Or even more quickly because you weren't waiting for some sky daddy to do it for you. You were willing to get up and do what it takes despite difficult conditions and get it done for yourself. How do you know? Where is the evidence? Where is the evidence that a so called God helped you to get out of the situation and not just your human grit and perseverance and stick to itiveness? How do you know that it's not you? How do you know? How would you answer, Sunny?
Well, actually, I would have to ask them, what about the people that I know who are atheists who have been on social media who are also on drugs and overcame it without Christianity or any other type of religion?
Right.
How do you explain them?
Very good point.
Maybe you're just a survivor.
Yeah, and
There is a such thing as being at such a dark place that you tell yourself, I'm not going to let this kill me.
yep,
I have to move on.
yep, yep. Good. I have one for you.
All
So
right.
I have one for you. So I am a devout Christian, and I'm telling you, I heard. Well, let me not make it because I'm a devout religious person. Because various people claim to get the voice of God, and I heard the voice of God tell me that that person that I've had my eye on is the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And even though he may be in another committed relationship, that's the person that God told me is for me. And side note, this is a real thing. This is a real thing. But I know in my heart, I heard it when I was fasting and praying for 3 days, that this person is the one for me, despite the fact that he's in a committed relationship. Ah, let me hear you with that one. And that's a real thing. That was a real situation. You,
Well, I would ask them, how do you know that it was God that you heard and just not what you wanted it to happen? You said it had been 3 days for fasting and praying. So possibly the first good looking guy you saw, you was like, oh, that's him. That's the one. It's been 3 days. That is the one.
yeah.
He's fine. That's the one. And what about,
Okay.
and then I would also have to ask them, how do you test to know that it was God that you heard and just not something that you wanted to happen or just something else that you may have thought you heard?
Yeah,
How can you test to know that it was actually God?
yeah. And what does the voice of God sound like in your head? Because we we all have internal conversations. Most people have an internal conversation regardless. So how what is your voice of God? If your voice of God sounds just like your own voice,
It
hmm,
might be you.
hmm, hmm,
And
and
how
if
is
you
it that God told you that that was your man when you have how many people in the church who have been single for how many years with the same prayer? But
yeah,
he
yeah,
chose you though. He told you that the one that was already in a relationship was your man,
yeah, it's yours.
your
Yeah,
man too.
yeah. God sets to share. These are these. I've heard it. I've heard it.
Okay, I got one for you.
I'm ready.
When somebody says God created Adam and Eve, and that's all it is to it. All this other stuff was manufactured by Satan.
I don't even know if I would answer that one, but I'll give it a try. I'll be like, what? What? How do you know? How do you know? What are you? How do you know?
Without using the same Bible that you use for all your other hatred and bigotry.
Right. Is this the same Bible that is against women? That is pro-slavery? Is this the same Bible that you're talking about? How
That is okay with rape.
that is yeah, that is okay with rape, that is okay with genocide, that's okay with war, that is okay with taking stuff that doesn't belong to you once it belongs to someone of a different belief system. Is that the same Bible that you're getting this information from? And if that's the case, I'm okay. No thanks. No thanks. No, thank you. Oh, what about this one? This one is for you. I prayed and I got that parking spot. God must have heard my prayer. I
Yeah,
prayed and I got the parking spot that I wanted. Or let's not even say prayer. I said these affirmations 10 times when I woke up this morning. And then I visualized, this was me. By the way, this was me a few years ago. And I visualized the perfect parking spot and I got it. Yeah. How would you?
or maybe somebody was leaving at the same time you was coming in. Just just throwing it out there.
It's the universe. It's God and or the universe. Sometimes they're the same. They're one and the same. Okay,
You
obviously,
you are an ant in the universe, so if you think that he targeted in on you out of all the other ants, that's on you.
because he's a personal. He's my personal. It's personal. I have a relationship, personal relationship, and or I attracted these things because of my positive energy that I was putting out. They sometimes get mingled and they sometimes get intermingled, right? Some people believe that they get things in life because of the universe and they're attracting it because of their positive energy. They're putting that out so they're getting that back in. And then some people believe that there is a God that answers their specific prayers out of the eight or how much of a billion people that there are on this earth.
Yeah,
But it
too
all
bad
comes
about all
down
the
to,
children in the cancer ward. Their
yeah,
prayers don't their prayers
no.
don't matter. You just need to participate.
Starving people, their prayers don't matter. Homeless people, their prayers don't matter. But that parking spot though,
That's you.
that,
That's all you.
that's that parking spot though, that my team won the whatever tournament. That's that's God though. But too
Even
bad
though
for
the
those
losing
hungry
team
children.
was also doing the same prayer.
Yeah, obviously they were.
Yours, they
Yeah,
weren't real believers. The real
that's right.
believers are the one who won.
Obviously,
Even though you
come on.
won by what, 5 points?
There you go.
Okay, I got one for you. Is it my turn? Yeah.
Yeah, it
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Okay, it's my turn. Okay. Here we go. Your dog said it's my turn. What you talking
Yeah.
about?
She is ready to go. She is ready.
Okay, here's what. Here's why. I know demons are real because how do you explain people's demonic nature and behavior?
Here we go again, blaming the demons. Um, always with the demons. It's always the demons.
How else do you explain it? Why they do what they do? No one could have just thought of that.
One, mental illness is real. It is real, and a lot of times it's misdiagnosed or totally undiagnosed. That's one. Two, you see, they all want to get in on the action. All of my animals want to get in on the action. They know the answer to this question.
They know the answer.
Yeah, they know the answer to this question. Two, unresolved trauma. How about that? How about we have a lot of people walking around with unresolved trauma and just reliving that trauma in different ways, reenacting that trauma in different ways? How about that?
And
Maybe it's
are so against therapy too.
yes, and is so against therapy or can't afford therapy or can't afford the medication or can't or how about that? How about maybe it's not demons and it's our wonky brains just doing its own thing? Maybe we just need some help. Maybe they just need some kind of an intervention. Not God intervention, like real intervention. Okay, this one.
Okay.
I had a dream. The Lord came to me in a dream. Okay, the Lord came to me in a dream and said that but what did I hear someone say? I want to get it right. I want to get it right. Oh yeah, the Lord came to me in a dream and said, in 3 months, my life is going to be completely different. And it happened. In 3 months, my life was different. I got a better job. Yes, I did apply for it and several others, but I got that one, right? I got a better job and I feel better than ever. And yeah, yeah. But the Lord told me 3 months ago and it happened 3 months later. How would you answer that? How do you explain that, Miss Skeptic?
First thing I would say is let me repeat what you just said. You were asleep and
Yes,
dreaming,
the Lord. But I said the Lord came to me in a dream.
but you were asleep
Yeah,
when this happened.
yes,
So you were dreaming
yes.
what you were already thinking about before you went to bed.
What? Excuse
You
me?
was
The
already thinking
Lord.
about this before you went to bed, and then once you went to sleep, you were dreaming about what you were thinking about. So therefore, because you were raised in religion, you took what you was already thinking about in your head as being God answering you.
You heard I said the Lord, right? It was the Lord. What part of the Lord are you not hearing?
And how did you determine that it was the Lord and just not something
Because
that you dreamed?
it
Maybe it was
was
something that you wanted bad enough.
so real. It was so real to me.
And how many applications did you put in before you got that one?
Okay, maybe 12,
Uh-huh.
but I got that one. That's what matters. I got that one.
So
And
you
I'm
put
pretty
the
sure,
work in.
yes.
But if it was
Because
God, you wouldn't have had to put any work in. He would have just given it to you, correctly?
everyone knows God help those who helps themselves. I'm telling you.
So how do we test that God was the one who specifically answered you and just not something that you dreamed of?
Faith.
How do you test how do you test faith?
You don't. You just have it.
So you so do you apply the same principles to other parts of your life? Do you just have faith that um your rent is going to be paid?
No. What? No. Of course. What?
Do you
No,
have
no.
faith? Do you have faith that you're gonna just be fed even though you haven't went grocery shopping?
No, I'm not Moses. What? We're not the Jews in the wilderness. This is not the book of Exodus. No.
But you use your faith when it comes to religion, and you don't use it in any other parts of your life.
Yes. Oh, yes, obviously. Listen, it's just faith and that's all it is, okay?
So just believe it, and that's it,
Just
huh?
believe it at the right times. You have to know when to apply faith and you have to know when not to apply faith. And the
Would you have
dream,
still would you have still gotten a job if you hadn't put in any applications?
doubtful. No, probably not.
Okay, so because of your dream and what you heard, you started putting in applications, correct?
Right?
Not the fact that you needed a job to pay for your rent.
Right? But then the Lord said that it would happen. You keep, you seem to keep forgetting that part about the Lord.
But how
But
do we? I'm trying to figure out how do you know that it was the Lord and just not a dream that you had?
I
How
just
do you
know it in,
distinguish?
I just know it in my heart. In
It's
my
written in your
heart.
heart.
It is written in my heart.
Okay, so
Right?
when you go to the doctor, does he show you parts that do you see writing on there? Is when you look at your X-ray?
No, that's where the faith, it's all faith and heart and Jesus and the Lord and dreams, and they're all intertwined. And I don't expect you to understand because the Lord works in mysterious ways, and his ways are higher than our ways. And you don't believe anyway, so you wouldn't get it. And
Well,
you know,
but I used to believe until I figured out that most of the things that requires faith is just you and imagination.
well, I would expect someone that doesn't believe to say something like that. That's what it always comes down to, doesn't it? Isn't that what it always comes down to? It,
How do you distinguish between just a feeling and a fact?
you can't. And that's where faith comes in. I feel like
It's
we're
just
going
a
in
big
circles.
circle. A
I
big
feel like we're
circle,
going in
huh?
circles here. I feel like you're not, I mean, maybe we should just move on. Let's just,
Oh,
let's just move on because obviously you've been
it's too
given over
hard.
to a reprobate
I,
mind. Obviously you don't understand what faith is.
right.
That's, that's the way things work. That's the way it works. And that's just how those conversations go a lot of the times. That's just how conversations like that go.
Like
You
it,
have to admit.
anytime you get to a question that's too hard or they don't want to think, Then it goes back to you just gotta know.
Yeah, you just have to know. It's just a matter of faith.
It's a,
Um,
just a feeling.
it's just a feeling. It's in my. I know it's in my heart. There's another one that they say a lot. Um, who am I to question God? It's obviously a lot of times because something seems unexplained in the natural. It goes from unexplained to my mind right now to obviously God. There seems to be nothing in between. There are no steps. It's either I don't understand it or I can't explain it, therefore God. That's how it
Yeah.
always seems to happen.
God of the gaps
The
fallacy.
God of the gaps. Yeah, it always happens that way. Do you have any more questions for me?
Oh yeah, I got one.
Give me. Ready.
On
Ready.
that, playing off of what you just said, what about when somebody says, "Well, I'm different. I don't believe in man-made religions. I'm spiritual."
What does that even mean? Can you please explain to me what that means?
Well, I'll explain it to you. God doesn't have to be a physical being, or it doesn't have to be from what some man brought up. It could be in the trees. It could be in the grass. It could be in the air, in the rainbows, in all around you. God is working.
Isn't that just things? Isn't that just things existing with and those just things that are existing? In which case anything could be God then.
But yes, it's a higher power. It's something greater than you.
How do you know this?
Well,
What okay,
because it just can't be me here. It has to be something greater.
why? Why can't it be you? Why must there be something greater?
And what they really want to say is because life sucks and it has to
Yeah.
be something.
It's better. Because life does suck at times, let's face it. Life is awful. Life is really, really tough
That's
sometimes.
what they really want to say because life sucks and it has to be something bigger, or else I couldn't make it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It is so very true. So let me ask you something. Why is it that COVID is still a thing? Why is COVID still happening? Why is God, if there is a God, why is there still COVID? Why hasn't God stopped this pandemic? We're in 2 years. It's 2 years. It's been 2 years. Why hasn't God stopped this pandemic?
I got the answer. You want
Tell
to know
me.
the answer?
I do. I really do.
COVID is not real. It's something that the Democrats made up to win a to win the election. It's not real. It's not.
Okay. Oh, so how do you explain the 700,000 people dead in your country, the 2,400 people dead in my country, and the 5 or 6 million people dead worldwide?
Those people were old anyway.
Okay. Very recently, we had a newborn baby die of COVID. How do you explain a newborn? How do you explain that?
Well, if you look into your research, skeptic, if you look into your research, babies die all the time.
Okay. Oh, so then you're vaccinated.
No, I just told you COVID
Oh,
wasn't
because
real.
COVID isn't real, so you're not getting the vaccine. Okay. So okay.
I am vaccinated, so just for the
Yeah, I
people out there,
know. We're just
for
playing
the
a
people
role.
out there,
We're just yeah, please. We're both fully vaccinated. We're just
I got
playing a
I
role.
got my card right here, y'all. Look.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. So
I'm just
this.
playing a role, y'all.
So COVID isn't real. The 7 million people worldwide would die anyway. 700,000 people would die anyway. Well, okay. Thank you for answering my question. I think I will leave you alone now because we have nothing else to say to each other.
But I have to tell you that the Earth is flat as well. Why do they
Thank you.
always go hand in hand? Why
I
are
don't
they always
know.
together?
I don't know. I actually saw a Venn diagram with that flat Earth, anti-vax, and a certain type of supporter. They all go Christian evangelical, a certain type of supporter. I won't call the person's name.
Hmm.
Anti-vax, flat Earth. It's all linked. I don't know. They're crazy. It's craziness.
That goes into my next question, and this is my last question I had.
Yes, ask me.
Um, since you said certain type of supporter,
Right.
okay. When racist people say, if all these things are going on in this community, get rid of the community. Something sort of like what the orange face said about Hispanics coming from Mexico.
Right.
When the same rhetoric is used for Hispanics, for Asians, for blacks, and they say, look, see, I have videos. This is what happened in their community. They're doing this. They're hurting each other. They're robbing. They're killing. They're doing all of this stuff. So it must be that race. How do you answer that?
First of all, I don't think I would answer. I would walk right off because there's no answering that nonsense. But let's get to first of all, what are you comparing it to? What is your comparison? Are you just focusing on this particular community? Are you focusing on individuals, or are you focusing on the community at large? What is the ratio of these type of things happening to these type of things not happening? Are you saying that within these communities there are no supportive, fully functional, ambitious, well-rounded individuals within these communities, and maybe just one or two individuals that have yet to figure things out? Or is it the fact that at the root of it all, they are trying to unravel what has been systemically done within those communities? Hmm.
Well, you can't just say that because statistics show that one in three women will be assaulted, and they'll be assaulted by someone in their community. So how do you explain that?
Yeah, but that's in the community. That's in all communities. One in three women will be assaulted, it's not race specific. This is gender specific. So what does one thing have to do with the other? You tell me. You tell me that. Assaults happen across the board, be it in minorities. Assaults happen? Why do you think that is? What do you think the issue is?
And since you brought that up, I do want to come out of character. Since you
Yeah.
brought that up, I do want to mention something about that too. A lot of times when people are bringing stuff like that up, when it comes to you said you don't want to say his name, but I will. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
say Orange Face. When
Say her.
Orange Face, when Orange Face was talking about build the wall and all of this because they were robbing and they were, killers and they were rapists and all of this type of stuff. What makes you different than any other races when you say only a certain type of community does this?
That is
Because I
correct.
want to see the numbers to all the communities side by side, and then you show me this one. And even then, it doesn't show that this one is more aggressive. It shows that this one is more than likely the one who doesn't have the means to get medical help or mental help or any of those other things.
Correct.
So how do you know that it's just that community that's like that?
Yes, and with
Unless you tell
reference
me.
to with reference to immigrants in particular, because a lot of people like to say just what you said, just like what that the orange face said. The Hispanics are the ones, they're coming in and they're doing the raping and they're doing the this and they're doing the that. But I personally know a lot of people that are immigrants that all they want to do is come, work, and support their families.
Yeah,
They don't want to come and disrupt. As a matter of fact, they try to stay as far off the radar as possible, and this is generally speaking.
yeah.
They're not coming to create any havoc. They just literally want to have a better life than what they may have had wherever they may have come from. You know what I mean? And you don't really hear mass shootings. Let's bring something that happened recently and has happened throughout. the U.S. history. Of course, I'm in the islands, and every time I hear mass shooting, I'm like, what is happening? And predominantly, I would like to say generally, if I can, it's not minorities that do mass shootings. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not minorities that do mass shootings. So what is the explanation for that?
I
It's
think
not
I,
immigrants doing it.
I think when racists bring that type of rhetoric up, and 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 it's not just racist too. I've heard black people say that about other blacks. I've heard a couple of Hispanic people say that about Hispanics. Not out loud. They know better. They don't put their stuff out in public.
Right.
But I think it's a blinders type of situation. This is all I see. This is all I grew up with, and this is how it is. And then when you remove your blinders and go other places, start traveling, which is something I need to do myself. I need to get out of the U.S.
Yeah. And see
but
life.
but when you start traveling, even something as small as going to other states. I'm here in Arizona, and it's a hell a lot of Hispanics as well as Native Americans. And if you haven't been around them, then you probably would say, oh, they're just killers and rapists. I haven't had any problems since I've been here. I haven't been here that long, but still, it's just like you said. They get up way earlier than I do.
Yeah.
Go to work, come home. They will bring their check to the families. Sometimes they have more than one family living with them, and they mind their own business.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think we need to be mindful of cultural differences. As again, okay, so I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. I live in Trinidad and Tobago. My cultural experience as a black woman, but a black woman from the islands, a black woman that was raised in an island environment, would be different than your experience as a black woman raised in the US. It culturally it's going to be different. And I think we need to be mindful of cultural differences because some things we may do here, which would be acceptable and downright normal behavior, may seem very strange to someone like you that's not accustomed. And it's the same thing. If you're looking at, let's say, a Native American or indigenous practice, it may seem strange, but it's their cultural practice, and you have to understand, learn about it. But at the end of the day, you have to respect that community, their behaviors, and understand that there's a reason why their behaviors are exhibited in a particular way. It's the same thing with Hispanics. People, there's a stereotype about Hispanic behavior, but that's just a cultural thing. Culturally how they are. Recently in Trinidad and Tobago, over the last couple of years, we've had an influx of Hispanic people in Trinidad and Tobago because of the proximity to Venezuela and what was happening over there. And you had to learn a whole different culture. And sometimes Trinis, as we call ourselves, they don't understand that, okay, this is how they are because this is how they are when they're at home. They're in a
Right.
different country, but their culture is their culture. It's inculcated, it's who they are. And you have to respect that. And I think sometimes, as you say, with the blinders, okay, I was raised this way, I was raised in this community. So when I see something that's different, oh, it's weird, it's strange. They do this, they do that. No, it's just a cultural difference. That's what it is.
What about when you hear people, and I believe it's a okay. Let me choose my words wisely. It's a different form of indoctrination, but when you hear African Americans, or I don't know if they say it on the islands, when they say that another community is better than this one because X, Y, and Z, what is that really saying? Is it saying that the people are better, or is it saying that their access to wealth is better?
Exactly. Exactly. That is very valid. And that is true. And it's so very true. And even here, as small as our island is, There are areas that you know that are the upscale areas, and there are areas that may not be, the middle class areas. I hate using that term, but what it is. And then there are the other areas, and those people versus these people, and a term that has come up a lot recently is the 1% and the 1% and the 1%. And it's just the language has become so divisive, subtle, but so divisive. Recently I came across the term, I've heard more and more, a high value man and a high value woman.
Boy,
How do you feel about that term? Let me,
I,
yeah, let me. I know it's no longer question time, and we're
I,
taking off the atheists. But
I
what do you
know.
think about that term?
I do
High
not.
value man and high
I do
value
not
woman.
like the high value anything because of the fact first of all, it's been changed so many times. You can't really say
Yes,
who is high value, who isn't. When you say high value as a Caucasian person, and you say high value as a black person, a high value as a Hispanic person, it still goes down to the same thing with money or without money. So it's a classism thing. It's not a person thing. And you can be high value and still be shit.
that is correct.
Like I years let me put a disclaimer out. This was 2002 when I worked, but I worked for the when I worked there. I worked for the Department of Human Services. Okay, so many things were dispelled when I was working there. I wasn't the caseworker. I was the person who went over the applications. Okay, so a lot of people always want to say domestic violence happens so much more in the black communities. No, it happens in the white communities too. They just do things, they operate differently. Like when I was working at the Department of Human Services, these ladies, when the cameras come and they want to show you the low income or people who are getting quote unquote welfare, things like that, the cameras are going to come to the office. The whites are not going to be at the office. What they do is they will write a letter, because I looked at the letters. They will write a letter along with their application. They will say that they're a stay-at-home mom, they don't have transportation, and they need to have assistance. The caseworker will do it completely over the phone, and they will get their benefits quietly while they have the other people come up there to the office to bring in their change of information. Now that was back then. Now it's getting more it's more tech, so you can't do everything through the computer for everyone, but they've been doing it for years. So when you have in your mind who gets welfare, you thinking that it's just blacks and minorities because that's who the camera is showing you. They're not showing you what's really going down in the
Okay,
office.
okay.
And when it comes to domestic, I'm gonna go back to domestic violence. When it comes to domestic violence, a lot of those women, Caucasian women who are coming in there, they had children. The men were leaving the house, just like what they claim for black. The men were leaving the house. They were often leaving for their secretaries, for someone younger, for any number of reasons. It was still happening. Does it happen as much as the black community? I don't. I wouldn't say that. I would just say that the ones who are actually coming for assistance is lower. I wouldn't say that it's just that low. You know what I'm saying? Worldwide, but domestic violence is everywhere. It doesn't matter what community you're
Agreed.
in.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
also, what you don't know too about specifically, I'll say Hispanic, but in my opinion, it there's something that's going on with a certain demographic of Hispanics, and I'm not going to mention which one, but it's their. You know how you say it's perfectly normal for a lot of the stuff that they approve of in the Bible? They also use the Bible for the things that's going on in their community. So it's perfectly normal for, and I'm not just saying this. I've spoken to a couple of them who me and them were friends when I first moved here. Um, they taught me a little bit of Spanish, but it's normal to get beat by your father and then turn around and get beat by your husband. And when I heard, because I'm like you, I thought it was just the person I was talking to, but then when it was more than one person saying the same thing, I was like, wow, you know what I mean? And in my opinion, it goes back to the Bible. Even though some of them were Catholic, it's still going back to religion. Like
Yeah.
they just really think it's okay to go from home to your husband and still get beat. And this one particular lady that I used to carpool with, her brothers were beating her too.
Oh, wow. That's sad.
Yeah. She said that she literally had to leave from where she used to live and move here to the United States because her brothers were beating her too.
That's terrible.
So think about that kind of trauma.
Yeah.
And I'm not, speaking for her. I don't know if she has had therapy or not, but if she has it, that's a hell of a lot of shit to carry with you.
Yep. That is correct. And I'll tell you something. In Trinidad and Tobago, I don't want to broad brush the Caribbean, but in Trinidad and Tobago, mental health is not something that we take as seriously as we should. It's not recognized as important. It's very inaccessible, and privately it's very expensive, so that a lot, and it's still very much stigmatized over here. But the thing is, if you were someone that was abused, you are going to need um, help mentally, not just physically, but you're going to need mental help. If you've been alive long enough, you're going to need mental health, because there's so many things that we encounter that we're raised with that's just not okay. But it's just one thing after the next, and it just get compounded and pushed down because that's what you were raised with. That's the culture of the land. But eventually those things manifest in real life, whether it's in your relationships or just in your interaction with others or in the way that you view yourself.
Right.
And that's why a lot of women, and of course, I always go back to women because that's my field. That's why a lot of women have issues with value. They have issues with image. They have issues with presenting themselves. They have issues with boundaries, because you're raised a certain way. You were raised to believe that, okay, men were here and women were here, or the father was the head of the home and the mother was there as a helpmeet, or what, and they always see themselves subservient, regardless of how much success they may actually achieve. They don't have the confidence, they don't have the esteem, they don't believe that they deserve. I had a client tell me, she no matter how many good things that came into her life that she worked hard for, she feels like she never deserves it. And she does, because she put in the work. She got her education. She got a good job. She has her own home.
Right.
But she still feels like she doesn't deserve it because of the environment that she was raised in. And and mental health is so important. I think mental health should just be like universally available,
And
because
free.
life, and free. Yes, it should be free. It should be available, and it should be free. It should be 100% accessible. You know what and oh my goodness, I really wish there was less religion. I really do wish there was less
Yeah, because if
religion.
you have regular trauma and then you add religious trauma on top of that, that's another layer that you have to
Yeah.
unfold.
Yeah, it's great. I remember I was talking to another client of mine, and I was telling her, she's doing such a great job. She's done, she's lost the weight that she wanted to lose. She's really built some nice muscle. She's at the place where she wanted to be physically. And her response was, yes, praise God. And I am like, in my brain, I didn't say it out loud. In
Yeah.
my brain, I'm like, praise God for what? You put in the work. You got up every day to train at 5 a.m. You are the one that ate the right foods. You are the one that did the cardio. You are the one that lifted the weight. You are the one. But at the end of the day, you don't take the credit for yourself. You don't pat yourself on the back and be like, yeah, good job, me. You're like,
And
yeah, well, praise
did she praise God?
automatically.
Did she praise God when she was overweight?
I don't know. That's a very valid question. It's maybe that was Satan though. That was Satan at the time. Satan deals with the fat. They
Oh,
segment it.
okay.
Satan deals with the fat. God deals with the weight loss.
And we're not
Obviously,
fat shaming. If you're
of
plus
course,
size, that's fine.
no, that is fine. This was an actual situation that happened with one of
Yeah.
my that an interaction that I had. Oh no, plus I yeah, we don't care. Yeah, but it's just I really do wish sometimes that there was less religion. I really do.
And going back to what you said earlier, how do you feel about the high value thing?
Okay, so when I first started hearing the term, it really irritated me. I'm like, how can we determine a high value person? What does that even mean? So, what does it mean? If you don't come from wealth, then you're not high value. If you don't have assets, but if you're a beautiful person, what? You're not high value. So, I went back to check and see what the original definition was because I think sometimes things get skewed in social media and the media. I think things get skewed at times,
Okay.
and it said a high value woman or man is someone that knows their value and exudes the confidence that goes along with knowing their value and knowing their worth and being willing to set boundaries with regards to their value and their worth. And I could accept that version. I cannot accept
With
the
that
version
definition, that makes almost everybody who's confident high value.
that is correct,
And
which
who
I would.
determines your value?
And who
Like
determines?
who has the scale?
I think only we can value us. I think the value that we put on ourselves. You know what I mean? I think if you value
Yeah.
your, I'm so wise. I think if you value yourself, then you are high value because at the end of the day, you have to live with you. Your opinion about you matters more than anything. There's no metric. How can there be a metric? How can I say you, Sonny, are low value because what? I don't
Because I
know.
don't have
Yep,
$1 million.
because you don't have $1 million, so you don't have value. That's crazy. No, but you're an amazing person and you make amazing opportunities and you put
Oh.
forth valuable information, and that is high value in my in my opinion. So I think we need to stick with the original. We need to stop monetizing everything. Money is not the only way to value something. There are things way more valuable. Because money, as everyone knows, money could be here today and gone tomorrow. We know that when we
Right.
get our paychecks. We
And there are a
know,
lot of people who've had money and still
and
act like
yeah, and
shit.
we know that
Act,
people that
act
have
like shit to other people.
billions of dollars right now and do absolutely nothing to help their fellow man. Does that make them high value because they have money? No. You're not bringing value to the world. What's the point? What's the point? So
Right.
yeah, so that's my take. But at first, the way I heard people using the term, particularly on social media, I was like, what in the hell is happening in our world? Yeah, because yeah, we can't put a metric on people's worth, and I don't think we should. That's not much different from slavery, in my opinion, because you're just saying, well, you're worth more. She's worth more than you, so you're less than her. And that's just classist, and
Yeah.
we're not
That's
tolerating that.
that's what it is. Another form of
Yeah,
classism.
yeah, we're not tolerating
I
that
have more
anymore.
because of my watch or my
Yeah,
suit or
yeah,
my
blah, blah,
and
blah.
I have a so and so bag.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
just means
no,
you waste money to me.
yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think being happy, confident, and comfortable with yourself and making others feel that way too is as high value as you can get.
Right.
Because people be struggling. Life is hard, especially the last few years. Whew.
All right, we have gone almost close to the 1 hour mark, and it's
What?
time for the Bible story. I mean, the
Yes.
Bible lesson, feed.
Woo, woo, woo. Okay,
Bible
so
lessons with feed.
Bible lessons. So we spoke about Eve and Adam. The downfall of man. Eve. We women be with
Right.
our disobedient selves. So now I want to talk about a story. Let's talk about the story of Lot. We all know Lot. Remember Lot's wife was turned into a pillar of salt? Do you remember her? So the
Think
Bible
about
said,
that. Think about that loving God. Just turn
yeah,
around and you killed.
yeah. And of course, it had to be the woman that turned around.
Of
So at the
course,
beginning of this
cause she
story,
nosy.
yeah, and disobedient, always disobedient. These women always want to do their own thing. I said, don't turn around, turn around. No, you're a pillar of salt. Take that. But I want to focus a little bit on Lot, who at the time they said was the only righteous man in the community. That's what he
Right.
said. That's why his brother went to rescue him. He was the only righteous man. The angel, sorry, went to rescue him. My thing is, Sonny, and correct me if I'm wrong, would a righteous man be willing to send his two virgin daughters out to a mob of men for them to do whatever they wanted to with them, despite knowing that the two men that they wanted were angels and could probably have taken care of the mob with the snap of a finger? Would
And
a
why didn't
righteous
they?
why didn't they? Would a righteous man want to send his two virgin daughters out wouldn't a righteous man want to protect? And why were his daughters of such little value to him that he was willing to just send them out to the crowd? Why is that? How is that righteous? And how is that okay with a righteous God, a God of love?
Right.
Good?
And
Let's,
even back then, like if you say, well, that was something that happened back then. As a parent, period, your first instinct is, in
should be.
most people, in most
Should
people,
be, right?
yes, not everybody, but
Not
in
everyone.
most people, as a parent, your first instinct is to protect your
To
children.
protect your children.
And if you
Particularly a
have,
father with his girls. Usually,
exactly,
a father is very
daddy's
protective
little
of his
girls,
girls, daddy's little
exactly.
girls. Yeah. So, so that's the issue. And then, of course, we have the issue with Lot's wife. Now, imagine in your mind, if you will, you're running out of a city that you've lived all your life.
And
You're
you hear an
hearing
explosion.
explosions, it's fire, it's brimstone. You're going to tell me your human instinct is not going to be to turn around and see what's happening?
Exactly.
But no, being the
And if
disobedient.
and they always try to say, well, because when I was I was a little kid when I asked this question. I said,
Right.
well, how did he know that she got turned aside if he didn't turn around? And my parents are like, oh, well, she was in front of him. That would make even more sense why she turned around.
Exactly. Because in which case, then she was looking out. How do we know she wasn't looking out for her family to make sure that, her husband was there with her? So how do we
Exactly.
know she wasn't being a righteous woman? But no, biblically, she was not. She was being a disobedient woman. And we all know women should be punished for having a mind of their own and doing
With death.
anything, yeah, with that, and doing anything that's within their nature. So fast forward a little bit to righteous Lot with his daughters in a cave. Good. He has his two daughters there. They were saved. And him in a cave.
His
Righteous
two
Lot.
his two virgin
His two virgin
daughters
daughters.
that
Righteous
he
Lot.
kept for himself.
Right. The daughters came up with a,
As commanded in the Bible. Keep the virgins for
yes, for
yourself.
yourself. The daughters came up with a plan that since they had no man and they wanted to carry on the name, I'm going to sleep with dad tonight and you will sleep with dad tomorrow night. Again, please, if you have children around and they don't know this version of the Bible story, get them out of the room or they're going to learn really quickly what the true Bible story is. Because I didn't learn this version of the Bible story. I only learned that Lot's wife turned to salt. That was it. I didn't learn all of this. So, daughter number one decided to get daddy drunk. And apparently, daddy got so drunk, he didn't know that he slept with daughter number one. It seems curious to me. How drunk do you have to be? It's only three of you there, right? It's only three of you there. It's three of you. If you find yourself getting aroused by a female, how drunk do you have to be to not know? Wait a minute. Wait, wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. What's happening here? Okay. All right, they're gonna blame that on the woman. They're gonna find a way. They're blaming it on the woman because she wanted it. Lot was drunk. He was out of his mind. Night number two comes around, and you're going to tell me he got so drunk again that he slept with his second daughter, unbeknownst to himself, and got them both pregnant.
Yeah, he put he put alcohol over his daughter's.
Yeah, and he was righteous. So why was he drinking that level of alcohol to begin with? And was you just escaped Sodom and Gomorrah? Where did
What
you get
if
all this alcohol from? You just escaped fire. You're telling me you had enough time to pack up some caskets of wine? Not clothes, not food, not anything, but
because
wine?
because doesn't it take a while for the grapes to ferment anyway?
So what is happening? And this is the issue within the Bible. They always paint the women in the Bible are either nameless and faceless, disobedient and deserving of punishment, somebody's property in some form or the other, or being taken against their will, and again becoming somebody's property. And property just in the same way that cattle are property, and goats and sheep and dogs and cats. It's the same thing. And this
Right.
is the same Bible that a lot of everything we still interact with in this world, including a lot of laws and stuff, is based on. It's this Bible. It
Yeah.
can't be okay. I asked
And instead of
someone,
them calling it like it was that he raped his daughters, he's gonna say
yes,
that the daughters got
the
him
daughters,
drunk.
it's, come on, say it what it is, own it, own what it is. And this is why I think it is a terrible idea to base your life on the Bible. Yes, they may have one or two nice little things in there, but if the great majority of it is trash, then throw it in the dustbin. We don't need it.
And that's one of the problems that I do have with religion itself, because when you go to church and you hear the good word that's supposed to, keep you going through the week, he's not going to read you that part.
No. Mm-mm.
Because if he reads you that part, that's going into his money.
Yes, you are correct. You are very
So
correct.
he's going to read you the good parts. He's going to read you the common sense parts. Treat others as you want them to treat yourself. And
Right,
they don't even do that part. Seriously, they don't even do that part. The
right.
hatred that I see online
Yeah.
coming from religious people, specifically Christians, but there are other religions who do the same thing.
Yes, there are.
The hate that they put out there, how is that treat others like you want them to treat you? How? Make it make sense.
Yeah, make it make sense.
The dog
Make
said
it.
make it make sense.
Yeah, the dogs are not impressed. Yeah, she is now asserting her dominance over the. She's
Make it make
asserting.
sense.
Yeah. So and so these are the things that I think I hope as we move forward as human beings
Uh-huh.
that we get away from. We
Right.
really, oh, we need to get away from it. And I mean, I know it's not only Christianity, but that was our background, so that's what we can speak on. But I know
Yes.
it's not just
Feast
Christianity.
Feast Bible Stories is based on the Bible, y'all.
Yes, it's based strictly on the Bible. And like I said, growing up, I didn't know all of that. Growing up, all I knew was Lot, pillar of salt. The-
Uh-huh.
Stop. Yeah, Lot, pillar of salt, because she was disobedient. That was the lesson I got as a child. As a child, that she
Mhm.
was disobedient, and that's why she ended up turning into a pillar of salt. That was the bottom line of that as a child that I received.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that all you wanted to bring up with that Bible story, or
Yeah,
was it something else?
I'm gonna save the other one because the other one, I'm gonna save that for our next episode.
Okay.
That's it for today with Fee's Bible story.
All right.
Remember,
Yay.
yay! I'm going systematically, chronologically, I should say, through the Bible and
Okay.
hitting on these stories. Because we can't take them all at once. We'll lose our mind. Trust me, we will. Mm-mm. We can't do them all at once. We have to take them in bite-sized portions.
And before we leave, I want to bring up something that happened in social media recently.
Yes.
Um, I don't know if you've been on Twitter lately, but there was a picture that went around, and I don't know if she was some kind of representative in politics or whatever, but she took a Christmas photo of her and her children, and they were all carrying weapons, guns. They had their guns, smiling. First of all, I always thought that a Christmas picture, because of God, was supposed to be peaceful. But what are your thoughts on that? Have you seen the picture, and what do you think
I
about it?
I have seen, actually, I've seen multiple versions of that picture as well. There is no peace on earth and goodwill to men in that picture, because I think even the children in that picture are holding what looks to my untrained eyes to be some kind of automatic weapon.
Assault work, girl.
Yeah, it's an assault rifle of some sort. And I think with the climate in the US right now, that is the last thing that we need. Well, that you guys. That's the last thing that we need to see it. It's the last thing to feel a sense of pride about, considering what has happened recently and the amount of grief that people are still suffering, the amount of trauma that people are still dealing with. I think one, it was in very poor taste. Two,
Poor
I believe,
taste.
yeah, it was in very poor taste because people are grieving, and to see a Christmas card, and the caption was even more sickening than, I can't remember what it was, but the caption was even more sickening than the smiling faces of these people holding
And
their
I was
assault
thinking, who are
rifles.
you giving this to? That's really what I'm. Who are you giving this photo to? Family?
Can you imagine? And if your family is accepting this with like open arms and like, yeah, this is great, Merry Christmas to you too, then you're like, oh yay, guns, Merry Christmas,
peace,
yay,
peace and
peace,
goodwill to
peace and
all.
goodwill to all. Then you really have a problem. You really, really have a problem. This is a, how is that okay? You know what's interesting, Sunny? Tell me this thing. If that, regardless of how well established that was a black or minority family, I won't even leave it to black. If that was a minority family with that exact picture, what would be public reaction?
We
Would it be a,
already know.
would it even reach to social media? Would it even reach to Twitter? What would the narrative be?
They would have called social services
Yes,
and said to
and it would
remove the children.
it would be
The
a
children
gang
are endangered.
immediately. It's gang. It would be gang. It would be some sort of gang, regardless of which minority it is. It
Police would
would
have
have
raided your
become,
home.
yeah, it would have become gang related. But there we go, there we go, and
And every
that's
shooting on the block would be from you.
from you, yeah. And if that's that, that right there,
Privilege.
it shows the level of privilege, and it really is disgusting. It really, really is disgusting. That and she's a public figure. She is someone in politics. I can't remember where, if it's a senator or whatever, but she
Right.
is someone in politics. And
And what happened to the they used to have it where you couldn't show children under a certain age.
yes,
Like
that's what I'm
what happened
saying.
to that?
Yeah, it's even children had these weapons, smiling with these weapons. And then you want to wonder why y'all have all these mass shootings. No, it's no question. It's not a mystery. It's not a mystery why these mass shootings keep happening. They're not happening in other countries.
What do they have where you are? How do they feel about guns where you are, and also guns in the United States?
I'm not sure about how other people feel. It's not really a conversation that I have very often. Guns are, of course, a problem. Guns are not legal in Trinidad and Tobago unless you're a
Okay.
business owner. It's not very easily accessible legally, but it is a problem because illegally guns run the streets like everywhere else. So it is a problem. Um, It really has increased the criminal activity in Trinidad and Tobago. And the problem is, a lot of these people, these guys and gals, I guess, that have guns, they don't have the training to go with it. So there's a
Right.
lot of innocent casualties as well. And of course, that leads to innocent bystanders getting shot. Innocent, it is a problem. It is a problem, and it's a problem that goes unaddressed. I personally, in my opinion, the illegal firearm trade in Trinidad and Tobago goes largely unaddressed.
Okay.
No politician from either side is willing to truly deal with it, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. Yeah,
Okay. So you do have the same problem,
yeah,
but
it
they're
is a
not going
problem.
on social media with it
No,
and
and
making
it's
Christmas cards.
no, it's nothing like. Of course, the U.S. Y'all do everything different over there. No, it's nothing like that. But it is a problem. I'm not going to pretend that, oh no, my island is so beautiful.
Right.
My island is beautiful, but
Yeah.
it is a problem. It is a problem. Yeah, yeah. Gun laws. I think you this gun thing. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
When you
It's
hear other nations come talk about it, like when England talk about the fact that they ban guns and they don't have mass shootings, they really don't have a problem with guns. When Australia with ban guns, some countries have never had a mass shooting. Some countries haven't had a mass shooting since like 1912, since 1837, since 1960 something. They haven't had,
right.
but and those are the countries that have very strict gun control laws. But in the US,
Right.
it's a mass shooting again. It's just again. And even in Trinidad and Tobago, you hear, this one was shot dead, or this one was found shot dead. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it really is. It's a situation that I think those that are in charge need to deal with more strongly than they're dealing with it. They
Right.
really do. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. You're right.
yeah,
And I don't know what the solution would be to that. I mean, even if they were to address it there and here, they're still gonna do it.
yeah. Humans, man.
Go,
Humans, man.
go ahead and do that accent. America.
America. You want to get me banned? You want to get me banned?
Nobody can do the accent like you.
America. That's so funny to me. That is so funny. Listen, when I go to apply for my visa, they're gonna say no. You say you want America, don't come America. You say,
Right.
yeah, don't come America. You say when I go, I
They
blame
said where
you.
you at.
But it is what it is, girl. We
But when it
just
comes to the gun law, you have to say it like that because this has
yeah.
been a problem for us for years,
It is. It
and I don't think
is.
it's gonna change.
It doesn't. It's not getting better. It just seems like it's almost becoming like, okay, another mass shooting. Like you don't want to become desensitized to the fact that 4 children lost their lives. That's 4 families without their children. That's 4 sets of siblings that have lost someone. Parents that have lost their child. You know what I mean? Or was it 3 children and a teacher? I can't remember, but it's 4 people whose
Yeah.
families who lost someone unexpectedly with through no fault of their own. They
Right.
just went to school. You just went to school and then you died. That's not okay. It's not okay.
And when you like you said, they're not being responsible because they haven't really been trained the correct way. But
Yeah.
even the ones who have been trained, they're picking it up for the wrong reasons. They
Yes.
need psychological evaluations because the people who are picking them up, whether they've been trained or not, is always for the same thing. They're either is anger filled from anger. They don't know how to deal with their anger, so they're gonna pick up a gun, or authority, such as I have this and you don't, so I could do this to you. Or a lot of them are scared. Like I've met some who are just basically scared. They don't they don't want to get an ass whooping.
Yeah.
So they want to show you 15 guns and say, walk up on me if you want to. That's just because you're scared of an ass whooping.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What happened
I think
to what
anyone
happened
that has a gun should have a psych evaluation done first. You can't just be the right age and have the right ID and just like, okay, here's a gun, go shoot
because
someone.
even in an ass whooping, if y'all fighting, you get to go home to your families.
Yeah, agreed. Broken and bruised, but you're going home. You might
Yeah,
have a black eye, might be missing a
miss
tooth,
some tooth.
bruised ribs, but you're
But
going
you go
home.
home to your
Yeah, you're going
family.
home. You can't do that with a bullet. The gun issue is a serious issue. It's a serious issue everywhere that it's rampant, and that is one thing. We don't have mass shootings in Trinidad and Tobago, but the gun issue is one thing, comparatively speaking, because we are such a small island that we have in common with the US. I really wish we didn't.
Hmm.
I really wish we
Yeah.
didn't. Yeah. We could have taken something else. Oh my goodness.
Well, it looks like we have come to the end of the show,
This
and
was
I
a
want
really
to.
good one. This was a
Yeah,
good one.
I think we touched bases on about everything we wanted to bring up.
Everything. Yeah, and then some. This was good.
And I want to thank you for taking the time out for today, and also for everyone else who is watching. If you find yourself in a predicament where you need someone to talk to, we've been talking a lot about mental health and things like that. There are links on the website. It says, I believe it says resources. The resources tab. There are websites there. There are phone numbers there. If you need someone to talk to, feel free to call those numbers. Um, Domestic violence, just any type of thing, that I have the number there for you. So you can go to that resources and check it out. Also, the notes from the show today will be on the website as well. And was there anything else that you wanted to add, Fee, before we
Was
leave?
there? No. Just look out for
Uh-oh. Oh. What happened to the video? Okay, Fee, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but the video cut out where you are. Okay, everybody, we will give her a couple of seconds to see if it comes back in. If not, uh, I believe that we will put the information on the website of what she was going to bring up. You can go to secularminority.com. You can also, if you happen to be checking this out on YouTube, because I posted it on YouTube as well, you can have it'll be the notes. Now, Fee, I can, there you are.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought my laptop was plugged in, guys, and it wasn't.
Oh, it
So
died.
it died. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
Well, I was letting everybody know that whatever you were going to say was going to be on the website as well as underneath the description box on YouTube. But
I was
you
just
can go
gonna say,
ahead.
look for us on all social media platform. Please share this. I think we're pretty awesome. So share it with your friends. Let everybody know. Secular minority, we're here. Find us on all social media platforms. You can
Right.
find me and you can find us, and you can yeah, we're on
And let
TikTok,
them know
we're on
where to
Twitter.
find you for your fitness advice.
Just look for me, Fit Diva Fee, everywhere, everywhere. You can comment, you can find me on all social media platforms at Fit Diva Fee.
Okay. And she's a new TikToker, so
Yeah,
she's on there as well.
yes, I'm on TikTok. Listen, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm
She's TikTok
convinced.
famous, y'all.
Yeah, I'm convinced I'm going to be TikTok famous. So get in while it's hot. Get in on the
I
ground floor, guys. Before I take off, and then I'm like,
know.
oh, too
Then
good for this.
she'll be high value.
Yeah. So get in on the ground floor. I'm still okay. But yes, please like, share, follow, subscribe, do all that good stuff.
All right, and for everyone, just remember you're special, you're loved, and you're stronger than you realize. Peace.
Bye.